Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to another video on the channel. I know, a consistent video streak. Don't want to jinx it. So my last video was talking about obviously the Linkin Park reunion, the new album, obviously the first live performance of the new lineup. That's actually done surprisingly well considering. It's my most viewed video in 2024, but probably my most viewed video in probably the last sort of 2 or 3 years. So it did have a part of the song in. And I talked about I don't want to react to the song for copyright, and then I got a copyright strike anyway, so I had to cut that part of the video out. So I've got to look into further how to do reaction stuff, because there's so many people that do it, and I was like, well, how do they do it? And the video's still up, so yeah, I'm still learning on how to do this reaction stuff, but I digress. So I thought I'd continue with this Linkin Park sort of topic, if you like, because this is quite a popular thing at the moment, both positive and negative. Obviously, there is quite a bit of controversy surrounding the band at the moment, which I may do a video on. I'm not sure yet. I might look into it a bit further, just to cover all bases. Haven't decided yet. That's not gonna be this video. So this video, I thought I wanted to know how this all came about, with Linkin Park coming back, obviously the new members, how this all came into being. So I'm gonna be watching the Zane Lowe Apple Music Linkin Park interview, which will hopefully shed a lot of light on how this came to be, just hearing how they've been dealing with the past 7 years of the loss of Chester, how the reality of the band coming back started to become more and more of a thing. How we basically got to this point where, they're on tour, new single, new album. So I thought it was quite interesting. I don't expect anyone to watch this video. This is just my own personal sort of a bit of fun to do, and because I like to know the behind the scenes stuff and how, especially for a band like Linkin Park, who was so important for me growing up. I've been a fan nearly 25 years, so I kind of want to know the ins and outs of it. So I thought this would be cool to do. Obviously, it's a long ass video. I don't expect anyone to be watching this, because it's going to probably be an hour video, which means I got to edit that. Great. But yeah, I just basically want to know how this came to be. And Zane Lowe, he's a really good interviewer. He's a fan at heart. He knows his stuff as well, and he's done quite a few these interviews. He's done a few Linkin Park ones. He's done Paramore. He's done Blink-182. So yeah, I'm quite intrigued to hear about this and just hear from Colin and Emily as well. So yeah, this will be me reacting to it. So I won't waste any time, because it's going to be a long freaking video. So I'm going to jump straight into it, and yeah, I'll talk about it throughout and stuff, and then at the end I'll just give my overall thoughts on it, I guess. So without further ado, I'm going to jump into this now. Yeah, that is a powerful statement. It's not, because you can be the most talented person in the world, but if the vibe's not right with the people, they don't click, it's not going to work. Because yeah, it's important to have the talent, but being in a band, you've got to all be, the right type of person. You've all got to click. You've all got to want to hang out with each other. So yeah, I'm glad that he said that, because that kind of makes it even more solidify that this was a natural thing. And there wasn't any intention this can be Linkin Park. It was just, yeah, I'm glad he said that. That makes me feel a little bit better about it. Because that was the thing with Post Traumatic. It was in a way, I think it was therapy for not only mikeshinoda but for the fans, because it was it did. If you are a music fanatic like me, the past of Chester, it hit a lot of people. And then I think him doing Post Traumatic, it was his way of trying to get how he felt. But then I know people went to that tour and they said it just felt like a group therapy session, because it affected people in so many ways. I mean, mental health is such an important subject. And I think that was, he goes on to mention it, I think he's going to talk about how it was this group sort of session where everyone was I don't know what's going to happen. But I'm glad he's touched on that, because it's such a good album. I'll recommend it 100%. Even for me watching this, it's kind of a bit of a surreal, emotional watch, because just to see Linkin Park back in 2024, but it's all these things. And as a fan, where you're so invested in the band that has such a massive influence on you, literally growing up with them, form part of your identity as well. It's kind of it isn't an emotional watch, because I'm just sitting here just all these things sticking in my head. But it's just, yeah, I think this is what, as much as they needed, we needed as fans, because it's kind of answering these questions of the past 7 years and stuff. So man, this is good. I like this.
That you've taken the opportunity for Colin, and for Emily
to get
and
to this
for all
point.
of you now
Yeah.
to be able to sit here today and say
The
to
juicy
fans, we're Linkin
stuff.
Park, you know, we're not another name.
Yeah, again, that's another important point. Like, they could have changed the band name, but I'm guessing that they were like, we want to continue the legacy, obviously honour Chester and stuff. I know this is a very divisive point at the moment in the fan base, but I'll give my overall takes at the end. But yeah, like, they obviously wanted to continue because they're like, no, we've worked our butts off making this band what it is, so we want to continue. So I imagine this is going to get answered. I suppose, because it can be a bit of a fickle nature of the music business, can't it? But I think with what they were going through and stuff, they probably thought, oh, you know, we're going to have a drop off. No one's really going to be interested in the band anymore. That's kind of sad in a way, but it probably goes to show like how humble and down to earth they are, because even though they weren't active, I touched on this in my last video, but their streaming numbers never dwindled, and so many people that love this band, man. Like, and not everyone got to see him the first time around as well, so it's kind of like there's definitely a clamour for Linkin Park. But it's just interesting to hear that he didn't think that was the case. I mean, it just goes to show, you don't really know what people think about the band or like how the band's perceived, sort of thing. See, that's the thing with Emily Armstrong's vocals. Like, if you've listened to Dead Sarah, like, you know, go listen to some Dead Sarah, because if you listen to how she performs vocals and that, you can just be like, okay, I get why they've chosen for Linkin Park, because it's like, it's the cleans, but then the scream and the rasps, like, you know, I can describe her screams on the Dead Sarah stuff. It's like, because we've not heard the Linkin Park stuff, but it's like, it doesn't sound like a scream, if that makes sense. It's just the transition is kind of flawless, and it's something a lot of vocalists and screamers, they can't really do well. But it's like the transition seems natural. But even sometimes you think like there might be effects on the screams or the vocals, but I just think that's just the way she does it, sort of thing. But yeah, like, if anyone does actually like Emily as a vocalist, then yeah, listen to some Dead Sarah, and like, you can kind of understand why they've chosen her for Linkin Park. Do you know what? Like, obviously, we're almost at the end of this interview. Like, she just have, obviously, when she speaks, she's got like this sort of, you can tell she's a front woman. She's got that sort of like front person charisma sort of thing, and you do get to like sense the energy of her as a person and stuff. And it must have, you know, she must have been, well, obviously she's impressed because she's in the freaking band now. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, they must have saw something that obviously not other people will have seen. But yeah, she just looking at her and the way she talks, you just sense she's a front woman. Do you know what I mean? You get, that's the vibe I get. Like, you just, when you see certain band members, you can just tell who like the singers or who the guitarists are. You just get a vibe, and so she has got the energy that oozes that she's a front person as well. It had a production of a Linkin Park song, and when Emmy jumps in, I was like, even though you're so used to hearing Chester doing that part, in my brain, I was like, it feels like a Linkin Park song, because like, it's like I said, like, Linkin Park are a band that just reinvent themselves every single time, and no two albums are the same. But even though we know it's a different version of Linkin Park, I still, like, I was getting the Linkin Park energy, and I was like, it feels like the band still. So it didn't feel to me like, oh, this is a whole new thing. Like, obviously, sound wise, yes, it's different, but when I've listened to it so many times now, and it just does feel like a Linkin Park song. Like, he's just got that energy to it. So it's interesting that he's thought that as well. It is why I love this band, because, you know, they obviously want everyone to be on the journey and accept this new version, but what Dave's saying there is like, we understand it's a lot, you know, a lot's happened. It's been a long period of time. You know, we've lost Chester. We've got this new version of the band. So that's a really good way. It's quite a sort of sincere and honest way of putting it as well. And I think it's saying that, you know, they want people to accept it and be on board with them, but I think they're not, you know, naive or oblivious to the fact that it's not going to be for everyone, which, as that's the Zane Lowe Apple Music Linkin Park interview. Do you know what? That was actually really interesting, because it kind of answers a lot of the questions that all the fans probably had. Do you know what I mean? Like, how this came to be, how they all dealt with the aftermath of obviously Chester's passing, just where they were, and how this kind of came, like, along the thought of this could happen again. We could get the band going again. And they all gave some really, really great answers. I mean, just like, it sounds like the foundation of it was like Joe and obviously Mike Shinoda talking, and then obviously they got Dave involved. brought Brad on board, and then it was like how they met Colin, how they got Emmy on board as well. It seems like this was a long process that probably sort of escalated maybe after the pandemic, I imagine. Because it's interesting hearing that they wrote songs with Emily back in 2019, but I suppose back then they just didn't know what was going on. And then like to get to where they are now, to the point of like, this is Linkin Park again. It just seems like it was a natural progression. It was like, and they mentioned it, all of them mentioned like there was no roadmap, there was no plan. We were just literally like, let's see how the energy is, go into the studio, see what we come up with. And it just felt like it was a natural progression. And they illustrate that quite a few times, like, because I know some people are like, oh, this was planned, blah, blah. I'm going to be honest, I never ever thought Linkin Park would do anything again. I thought that was it. Like, we had the re-releases for the anniversaries of, like, Hybrid Theory, Meteora, Paper Cuts. I imagine they would have done something for, like, you know, Minutes to Midnight when it gets the 20th anniversary of that. So I just generally didn't think they'd ever come back. And I'm freaking glad they're back, man, because... yeah, Linkin Park was just, they were one of the first bands that I ever really got into properly. For me, they're up there with like Blink-182, because Blink are like my favourite band, but Linkin Park are quite, they're on level with them, just because those two bands especially, they really had a massive impact on me growing up as a kid. You know, when I discovered music, like, I must have been 10, 11 years of age, I think, when I came across Linkin Park. So I've been a fan nearly 25 years, so I've like seen the growth, I've seen the journey. And that was a really cool interview. I mean, Zane Lowe is a fan. He asked all the questions we wanted to know, and I just like, he's just really good at interviewing. That's probably one of my favourite ones he's done. Like, I think this one, the Blink one, and the Paramore one, they're my three favourite ones he's done. And you can tell like he was asking for himself, but also for us as the fans, because you know, it's all stuff we wanted to know. Like, because when they had this announcement brewing and stuff, it was like it. Some people thought it came too quick, but it sounds like this has been like a five-year thing. It's not happened like in the past year. Obviously, making the album stuff, it would have been like, you know, they've probably done that for the past year or so. Because obviously, when you're a band making an album, it can take anywhere from like 6 months to like over a year, depending on if you're rewriting stuff, if you're touring, yada yada yada. But yeah, it just seems like it was a natural thing, and I'm really excited for it. And I'm glad like they reference things like, you know, mikeshinoda's post-traumatic stuff. I'd obviously go listen to that, because if you listen to it, you see where he was in 2018 after obviously the band went on hiatus and we said goodbye to them. And I think that was kind of like a catalyst to get to where they were. And yeah, like it just seems like it was a very natural thing, and I am excited for it. Like, just to have new Linkin Park in 2024. I didn't get a ticket for London because that was an absolute shit show. Trying to get a ticket for that, it was just a joke, man. I'm actually quite gutted about it, because I kind of had my sights set that I was going to be seeing him in a couple of weeks. It's just not worked out. So yeah, I was pretty bummed out. I still am. But I know they'll be back next year. I'm hoping they'll do a full-on world tour next year, or maybe there'll be a headliner at Download next year, which would be insane. Because obviously Linkin Park, they've headlined Download Festival before in the UK, and I think if they do a tour next year, or if they're a headliner next year, they may only do a couple of warm-ups for it. But yeah, if Linkin Park are at Download 2025, I'm going for that day, like, because yeah, trying to get the ticket for this O2 show was a joke. I'm already seeing them on flipping sites, and I'm like, it's just, it ruins it. Like, if you're a music fan, let me know your thoughts on buying tickets this year, because I think it's been an absolute shit show trying to get tickets for these big bands. Like, it's becoming more freaking hard. Like, the smaller bands, it's not so bad, but when you get the bands like Linkin Parks, like the Paramores, the Blink-182s, the Green Days, like, the tickets are becoming impossible to come across. And yeah, it's sad I won't be seeing them. I really wanted to go and see them, but I think they put the show up of the LA show, so I might watch that. Because I saw the set list for the LA show, and mate, nearly 30 songs they were played. So you can imagine it was like banger after banger after banger. So I wanted to go, really, so I could sort of like see what they're like with like Emily and Colin, and then I was going to do like a comparison video for when I saw them with Chester back in 2014. But sadly, it's not happening. But yeah, I've just gone a massive waffle there, my bad. So yeah, this interview, really interesting, quite insightful, just hearing all the band's different takes on it. And I love hearing stories like that, because it's not like, oh, what's your favourite album, what's your favourite song? It's just like, it's the journey to get to where they were. I really love hearing stuff like that, like, because I like all the behind the scenes stuff. It's not stuff you necessarily get from like, magazine articles or interviews. So even though there wasn't an interview, it was more natural. It wasn't like trying to get dirt on them. It was just like hearing how this all came about. And I'm looking forward to the album. Like, if someone had told me a few months ago, that Linkin Park would drop a new album in 2024, I would have been like, no freaking way. So the fact that we're getting one, it's just 2 months now. At the time of recording this, it'll be 2 months tomorrow. It will be coming out. So I'm pre-ordering that because I'm really looking forward to it. Emptiness Machine was a good solid start for this new era. And again, it's like, I can see the argument of, they're trying to replace Chester. Like, I can see that point of view, but it's a new era of Linkin Park. Like, sadly they can't continue with Chester because he's not around anymore, and I don't think Emily's trying to replace him. But Linkin Park's perspective is like, look, we want to carry on. This is the new version of the band. This is who we are in 2024, and her joining will help them go into this new era. Because obviously they could have carried on with just Mikeshinoda as a vocalist. That could have been an option. But Linkin Park is a 2-vocalist band. It always has been, and I think it would have been. They could have done it, but Mike can't do the heavier side, can he? So I think they had to do it. Obviously, it sounds like there are heavier songs on fromzero, which I'm hoping, because I would love to get a bit of more of the heavier Linkin Park sound back. And because Emily Armstrong, she does a bit of the heavier stuff from like Dead Sarah and stuff, I think there will be some heavy bangers, so I'm looking forward to it as well. But yeah, this was a really interesting watch, just really, really insightful. It just kind of made me feel a bit better as a fan, and I feel like fans needed that. It was kind of like, it was like a bit of a therapy session essentially, because we love this band. There's always unanswered questions. We didn't know how this come about, and I feel better watching that, to be honest, because I'm like, okay, it wasn't like a cash grab. It wasn't like trying to get so many streams or trying to be popular again. They were just like, we want to do this again for us. So again, the fan base is very split on this. Some are up for it and accepting it, and some aren't so much. And obviously there's been all this controversy online, which I may do a video on. I might tell you, I don't tend to like to do content like that, like look into controversy. I know people do it, and it's just not really something I do, but I don't know. If people want to know more on it, who knows, maybe I will do a follow-up video on it. But it's just kind of all that stuff, it's overshadowing the song and the band being back. But that's in it for you, bro. But yeah, that'll be it for me on this video. I hope you enjoyed it, guys. If you've got it this part, just let me know in the comments if you actually got to the end, because I don't know how long this video is going to be. It's going to be well over an hour, and I'm like, oh, I've got to edit this now. Yeah, that realisation just hit me. Oh, Jesus. But yeah, I wouldn't normally do something like this, but I just thought this was quite fun for me to do and watch it and just sort of react to it and give my takes on it. It's a lot of me waffling, so if you like it, thanks. If you don't, I fully understand, because just the fact of me having to watch this back and edit it now, it's going to take me probably going to take me a couple of days to do. But yeah, it was just really fun to watch. Gives you more clarity on the situation, and yeah, I'm looking forward to fromzero. It's November 15th that comes out, so I'll be doing a review of that when it comes out for sure. And yeah, if you haven't, go listen to mikeshinoda's Post Traumatic, go listen to the Fault Minor stuff, and obviously, as always, listen to all Linkin Park stuff, because they're back. New version 3.0 technically. And yeah, hopefully they hit the UK in 2025, because I would love to see them. It's just such an important band. But yeah, that's my waffle over. Thanks for watching, guys, if you got to this point. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to like and subscribe down below, and stay tuned for more videos, and I will catch you on the next one. Whatever shape that takes, who knows at this point. Channels all over the bloody place, but probably should actually start a new one for this music stuff, but we'll see. We will see. But yeah, have a great day, guys, and I will catch you on the next video. Until then, peace out and have a great day.